The brothers in the house
Yes, sir.
tonight.
We are live, gentlemen.
What's up, sports world?
Talking
I figure I
sports with the 12 man.
Keep the party going and put this Chris Carter drip on for y'all.
JQ, are you gonna wear that all month? Is that gonna happen all year? What's happening, man?
No, because I can't, man. Because every time I wear it out somewhere, I get some Yahoo wants to come over and talk to me about the Bulldog or something else. Oh, y'all won, but I didn't want you to win. It's like, come on, bro, you gotta let it go. Like, I don't know you. I didn't come here to talk to you about this. So,
We on a prime time tonight.
yes, sir.
We are in prime time. It's funny. I was talking to Naj. She was like, "Yeah, no alcohol hour." I'm like, "No, there's definitely gonna be alcohol." About how early it is. We're having a good time again. Talking sports.
Yes, sir.
It's early for Nas. I think he's a late hawk. Night hawk.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. So I extended the invite to him as well. Maybe he'll join. Maybe he'll show us, a little nice little cameo, if you will. But let's get this party started as always. We're live on Facebook, Talking Sports for the 12th Man. We're live also on our YouTube channel. We're slowly but surely trying to get some traction with that. But again, it's all good. YouTube channel is another 12th Man Sports. You want to follow us in that arena as well as we kind of figure out, we're going to build it as we fly, as they say sometimes too. But we're having fun. This has been a couple weeks. We've been utilizing this great platform. It's been fun. So we appreciate that. And if you have any chat requests or any questions, you can always hit us up via that. And we will certainly take those questions as well. Only if you're not an Eagles fan. No, I'm just joking. We're joking. I'll let the Eagles go. We'll let the Chiefs sort of get in there too. But having some fun. But
Man, listen,
let's have some.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're all. I don't know. I can't speak for everyone. I'm an Eagles fan, as much as that pains me to say that. I had to kind of swallow my pride and say that to Scott Richmond, Rob. But another conversation for another day. I'm not ready yet, So, but let's introduce the fellas.
Yeah.
What?
Gary is upset from that. We know who he's rooting for.
Gary's a Chiefs, but he's like all Chiefs. He's like, let's go Chiefs. I'm like, yeah. We figured that was going to happen.
Well, when you guys were all talking about the Eagles, I had kind of a little bit of
bowel
or something come up.
Yeah.
No. We don't want you to get sick on air.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't either, so keep it to them.
Keep it to a minimum. I got you.
Let's introduce the fellas, as always. First and foremost, Mr. Rob Ford, a.k.a. the habitual line stepper with the 30 topics, as always. But we're going to have fun. We appreciate you. And I only kid because we appreciate you so much, man. So how you feeling?
28 to be exact.
This guy's an overachiever. I figured I was in the range, and he was going to tell me exactly the number too. But that's okay, Rob. We appreciate you. We're not going to talk any junk because you're doing your thing, and you are single-handedly posting all those amazing videos. So we appreciate you doing that as well. So how you feeling this evening?
Hey, doing great, man. Ready to make it do what it do. Talk some sports with my favorite brothers here. So let's make it go. Let's make it do what it do. I had asparagus for breakfast, so I got a lot of energy.
Jesus.
12-round fight now.
There's an intervention. There's a help line for that, Rob. Asparagus help lines that just for people that are addicted to asparagus. I think we're gonna have to put a call in at some point. Just
AA
is
is normally Alcoholics Anonymous, but I guess we're going to change to Asparagus Anonymous. So
no, man.
Online intervention.
Drinks. We need to be worried about people drinking Monster drinks and all those energy drinks. That's what we need.
Yeah, that's facts. How to get myself off on.
100%. We're obviously giving you a hard time because we'd rather have you addicted to asparagus and something else for sure. So yeah. Anyway, a lot of vices. JQ, how you feeling this evening?
I'm good, man. I'm still living in the afterglow, watching Ryan Day go on all these talk shows. He was on Kelly Clarkson, I believe today. He was on Late Night with Jimmy Fallon, either last night or the night before last. So I got to hold on to that because Anthony Davis got hurt in that game, so ain't no telling when he's gonna be back. He was doing so well. Yeah, no, I don't know, man. You know, you get abductor strain, it's gonna be more than a week. They just saying that, so we'll see. But I can't complain, man. Ready
It's
to-
amazing how much you love Ryan Day now, but you hated him about maybe 2 weeks ago.
Well, listen, I just like to see the trophy. So as long as he's bringing the trophy with him, that's what I'm paying more attention to than Ryan Day.
Man, Coach win your national championship, man. All is forgiven.
All is forgiven.
Hey, I saw Ryan Day at a strip club. Nah, he wasn't at a strip club, man. He was just enjoying the trophy.
Yeah, if I see him at a strip club, I'm gonna get him a dance.
Oh no.
Yo, what's that song? I Can Make You Dance.
Hey, listen, well, that's funny.
Who's that artist, Drake? Roger and
Yeah, hold up. Yeah, it's like, hold on, man. I'm gonna
song
go back to
talking
this.
Yeah,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I even brought it up, man. I even brought it up. Go ahead. Oh man. We're gonna quickly get off of that. We're gonna go into that's there's a
dance with the trophy.
that was by Zap and that was by one by Zap and that's the one I'm thinking of too, Rob. That's what you're thinking of too, right? By
Roger and Zap,
Roger.
right?
Yep. Roger and Zap. I can make you dance.
Yeah.
Oh man, Gary, what's up?
28 topics, huh, Rob? No, dude.
Hey, you asked for it. I got to give you something to study for, man.
Hey,
I said you
You
did
asked
ask
for it
for
early.
it.
I'm gonna give it to you early. I'm gonna give you something to study.
hey, you back off of that tequila on the next flight. That's all I gotta say. That's it.
No tequila here.
notice- Oh gosh.
Asparagus
And
for
notice-
breakfast and tequila for lunch.
I had to. If you're gonna ask for it, I got to make sure I'm giving you something to study.
You did ask for it.
Hence
So
why I said
we'll see if
why
you keep asking for it.
Yeah. That's funny.
Guess what
I
I'm
was
not
at.
gonna do next week?
You're not gonna
Gary's
ask
got a lot of time on his hand to study too, man. I mean, you know, he might hang one chandelier up a day, and then the rest of the day he's chilling.
No more chandeliers. They're done.
The life of retirement,
Hey,
man.
but I got to keep Arnetta away from that HGTV because every time she watches that, there's always something new.
You're hilarious.
You might want to call the
That's
cable provider and turn that channel off.
No kidding.
That is a true statement. That is a true statement. How come we can't get our wives addicted to football? Hey, this football channel is just on, and it's just on the whole time, you know. So anyway, we're having some fun.
Good luck when you figure that out. You let me know.
that's not bad.
A lot of love here. Hey, we've had some fun, kind of again getting acclimated, and we are ready to talk some sports here. And right out the gate, let's talk about some early Super Bowl predictions. Again, I think we were hoping that the Bills would pull it off, but again, we're not going to talk about what's happening with KC. We're going to circle back around to that controversial spot. And we had a feeling that the Eagles would take care of business, even though Jaden Daniels gave them a great run. Just wasn't able to overcome a lot of those turnovers. And JQ, I'm actually going to give you a quick shout out because you had mentioned earlier, well, this was an interesting stat. Teams that have played Detroit the week before, they were like 2-15. So that actually was an interesting stat going into that game. Like you just get beat up and physically, I don't know if that happened in the game because they had a lot of injuries to the defense, but just that actual stat came to light, believe it or not. And again, the Commanders got beat. So now it's like 2-16 teams that have played Detroit. They've lost that next game, which is crazy as well. So anyway, yeah, go ahead. I don't know what's to grab this one out the gate, but go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say I don't know if this was that, but you can't turn the ball over 4 times.
That's true.
You definitely can't turn it over on the road like that. It went 28 points.
Yep.
So, I mean, there he goes. I think that's more than that than anything outside of the Detroit game because I mean they got out ahead in Detroit there at the end of that game, but they just got beat up by a better team.
Yeah.
When you see it, Philadelphia had a better defense, and you gotta give him credit where credit is due. Don't say Saquon want to beat you, and you let him go 60 yards on the first play. You know what I mean? Like,
Man,
Yeah, so that's so I mean, I think that's really just what happened. And then listen, when you play Kansas City, you got to cut the head off, man. And if you let them hang around, they're gonna get a spot, they're gonna get a call, but Donkey K's got to catch that ball. Like you can check out of that play and get a better protection on the blitz, but that ball hit him on his elbow. So I don't know what else you really want to say. You gotta go take it from Kansas City. I mean, so there is some validity to the Kansas City gets a lot of calls, but that game was there for Buffalo to win. And you gotta get off the field on third down. Get off the damn field, defense.
Go.
It's just said and done with Mahomes.
I mean, it is. It is. You give him fourth down, you got him right there, right? And you let him get butt naked over the middle, and game's over. So I feel a little bad for Josh Allen, but they had the opportunities.
Yeah.
Well, with that Philadelphia Washington game, 4 turnovers to 28 points. That's what it turned into. That's the game right there. They go their first games, no turnovers. They get into this game, 4 turnovers. That's it right there. In order for Washington to win, and I
flawless.
I thought they would win. They had to play just like they played their last games. Flawless, no turnovers, be in the right position, and somehow hold down Barkley, which they didn't on the very first play. I'm like, oh shit, here we go, right off of the bat. As far as the other game with the Bills, was that a first down? Yes, I believe it was a first down. I watched one official. He went and he marked it right. The other one marked it back a little bit. They ended up getting a turnover on that. But at that point, there was time left in the game for them to win it. And they didn't do it. So that was a bad call, which could have greatly affected the game. But it could have been where they didn't even get a field goal out of that anyway. I mean, so we don't know what they would have got. If they would have gone down and scored a touchdown, it could have really changed the complexion of the game. But, would have, could have, should have, and here we go with, Josh Allen losing to Patrick.
4-4.
Yeah.
At some point, you got to beat Jordan. I mean, at some point, Peyton
That's
Manning.
true.
Well, he didn't win many matchups against Tom Brady, but he did win a few though, right? At some point.
Yep.
I know Joe Burrow beat him once, but didn't capitalize in the Super Bowl. But at some point, Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen and Joe Burrow's got to break through and not only beat Mahomes in the playoffs, but also win it in the Super Bowl for them to be, considered, in that category, right? And at some point, they just got to do it. But that being said, I'm picking the Eagles in the Super Bowl. I think I'm picking the Eagles. I picked Ohio State before the college football playoff. I stuck by it. I said they were the better team. I picked the Eagles before the NFL playoff started, and I'm sticking with them. I picked them before the playoff started. I think they're the most talented team, right? You look at their offensive line. When you look at their running back, the way they're running the football, man, insane. Saquon Barkley and even Kenny Gainwell comes off and gives them a nice change of pace. When you look at their weapons on the perimeter, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert, stiff-arming people down the field. He did it to somebody else this past weekend against the Commanders, right? And then they're just winning in the trenches on both sides of the ball. Jalen Carter, man, he's unblockable, right? I mean, he just slapped the center of the Commanders down to the ground. Y'all see that play? Man, he just gave him on whoop, just slapped him right to the ground. Man, it's just unblockable. And then they're playing well on every level of the defense too, right? And look, it's not going to be easy beating the Chiefs. We know that, right? I know the Eagles lost in the Super Bowl to them 2 years ago by 3 points. It's going to be key that the Eagles take care of the football. I know you guys touched on that already, but I like the Eagles in this matchup. I really do. I mean, I'm not predicting a blowout or anything of that magnitude, but I just think they're going to be the tougher team in the trenches in this matchup. I'm interested to see if Chris Jones and that Chiefs defense going to be able to slow down that Eagles running game, because nobody has been able to do it. And they're going to have to put some pressure on 15, right, without the referees throwing flags, of course. But they're going to have to put some pressure on 15. But I like the Eagles in this matchup. I really do. That's my prediction. That's what I picked before the playoff started, and I'm sticking with it.
You know, my only worry about that is because I don't want to see goddamn Kansas City win another thing here in life. But I think the Eagles have the advantage everywhere except for head coach and quarterback, and that to me is
that's worth a lot.
It's
worth a lot.
It's a lot. It's worth a whole lot. The Sirianni gonna get in his own way because he's prone to do that from time to time. And if you say, "Hey, I'm gonna stack this box," you still got McDuffie, the other corner on the other side that's playing really good football for Kansas City. Can they hold up 1-on-1 to where you take away that advantage that Saquon has with that massive offensive line? I'll give it a prediction next week. How about that? Because I'm still mulling it over because I want Philadelphia to win because I don't want Kansas City to three-peat. But you know how I am about the team with the best quarterback and also the head coach. If you got them both, you can overcome other things.
Keep in mind, they lost by 3 points 2 years ago to this team, and I think this team is better. And I don't think this Chiefs team is as good as that team 2 years ago. That's kind of where I'm going with this with the Eagles. That Eagles team didn't have Saquon Barkley. His offensive line is better. Their defense is better. They got two good coordinators, Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore. I just think they're just too talented, in my opinion.
But the problem, though, is Kansas City, Philadelphia with Kellen Moore, you watch it sometimes, these coordinators that are here, he might not be talking to nobody officially yet, but your Saints might mess it up because you're out here thinking about the wrong damn thing and not thinking about this team and worried about this next gig. I hear you, but I think when you say that, I think Kansas City's defense, especially on the outside of the perimeter, has gotten better. Then you give them D Hop for a little bit of chicken and some waffle fries. So
speed,
I don't know. Yeah, but he still can catch in the fumbles and make plays. So again, I'll wait till next week. I'm sorry.
And that's that Kellen Moore deal. That's pretty much a done deal with the Saints, but they just can't announce it until after the Super Bowl. So, but it's pretty much a done deal. But so hopefully, with that being out of the way, he can concentrate on this football game.
You stop that. He in his mind is worried about his staff and where he gonna live. He don't want to get robbed in the French Quarter and all that other nonsense. Like, he worried about the wrong shit.
He's not gonna live in the French Quarter. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about
that. Naj has been patient. Go ahead, Naj.
No, I agree with a lot of what it said. I probably would put the Chiefs defense ahead of the Eagles defense, though. I think they're so battle tested. They expect things to happen for them to a certain degree, and that kind of confidence, it's hard to overcome, man. And to your previous point, talking about Lamar and Josh, eventually they're going to break through. Like, things are going to go their way and they're going to win a game. But I don't think we saw officiating take away anything from Buffalo. I just think they lost. I just think they didn't make enough plays and they lost the game. And we're getting to the point now in sports, man, where we talk so much about the outside stuff and how much stuff can be fixed or rigged or whatever. And it's like when I'm talking to my uncle, man. I'll send my uncle a play in the morning. Hey, man, this guy, 5.5 rebounds, lock it in. He's like, okay. And then I'll text him later, and he'll say, oh, yeah, man, I had to go do something, and then I got it later. What'd you get? Oh, I got it at 6. So, it ain't no big deal. I said, no, dude, that's a vast difference. If you predict something as 5.5 rebounds, that means 6 wins. If it goes up to 6, that means you need 7, brother. That's a whole nother ballgame. That's not even the same play anymore. I don't want that play anymore. But when you talk to people like him, who thinks when it comes up short, he thinks, see, Adam Silver, man. I said, bro, it's math. Adam Silver ain't got nothing to do with it. And that's kind of what it is with the Chiefs.
Adam Silver fixing the rebounds, huh?
Right. And that's kind of what it is with the Chiefs. They don't beat themselves. We get these OCs. You guys talked about Kellen Moore, and this is the thing that sticks out the most with the Chiefs. We get OCs acting outside of themselves because it's the Chiefs. Oh, okay, we got to do this because it's them. Oh, we got to go for 2 because no, do what you normally do. Stop making them into, an entity that has to be overcome and just play it like a football game. So that's the thing I'm worried about with Kellen Moore is if this big game makes him change how he calls plays. But overall, man, these are the 2 best teams in the league. I'm ready to see this game. I'm excited to see it. And hey man, the Michael Jordan of this sport, the boy Pat Mahomes, he leaving with something, man. I don't know how they're gonna do it. Travis,
come on, Denzel.
so Travis Kelce
Come on,
ain't gonna do
Denzel.
much. But dude, they gonna figure out a way to do it, and sadly, we just gonna have to watch this. But again, Mahomes is reverse Brady. He came in with weapons, and he was putting 40 on everybody. Now, their defense, all of their draft picks played out, and on offense, their draft picks didn't work out. So they had to build the team in the way that they do now to where Pat Mahomes, man, they'll beat you with 24 if they have to. So, yeah, this is going to be really big. It's going to be really big for Jalen especially. He's the one under the most fire. But Chris Jones is unblockable too. Same way Jalen Carter and them boys on the D-line.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
Problem. Like, nobody's blocking Chris Jones one-on-one. Like, he's going to beat up your line all night. Everybody's going to the cold tub. You know what I mean? After the game. So, yeah, man, I'm excited for this, bro. Like, let's get it. Let's fast forward this media week and get to the bone.
Well, JQ, you hit it right on with the coach and the quarterback. I'll take Kansas City's duo over Philly's duo any day. And if it comes down to that, which I believe it will, Kansas City's going to win.
You brought up a good point, Naj. Can we just put it out here on wax so people hear it? Hey, coordinators and everybody else, I don't care if you're doing high school, pee-wee football, intramurals, stop going for 2 in the first half. Stop it. That point is going to come back to haunt you. At some point, you're either going to be down 4, or you should be down 3. Now you got to go for 2 for the rest of the game. Don't do it. Sorry, that's my old man rant, but that shit drives me crazy. Yeah. Why are you chasing that point in the first half?
You got to wait to the end of the third quarter and the fourth quarter before you start making those decisions to go for 2. No, I totally agree with that. And here's another point I want to make here too. We've had 8 teams in the Super Bowl era that had an opportunity to three-peat, and they're 0-8. The last team that actually officially really three-peated were the Green Bay Packers when they won the last NFL championship and the first 2 Super Bowls. So we've had 8 teams. We had the New England Patriots was the last team. 03, 04 Patriots did not repeat in 05. The Broncos, Terrell Davis, John Elway did not. They were 97, 98. Did not three-peat 99.
Cowboys.
Gary's Cowboys, 92, 93. Did not three-peat 94.
49ers.
88, 89. Did not three-peat 90. The Steelers, JQ's favorite team, 78 and 79.
Stop saying that shit. Stop saying that shit out loud. People don't believe it.
In the 80s. And the Steelers, 74, 76. 74, 75. Did not three-peat in 76. The Miami Dolphins, Larry Zonker, Don Shurla, 72, 73. Did not three-peat in 74. The Green Bay Packers, who technically did three-peat, but by Super Bowl era, this would have been a three-peat for them. They won 66, 67, did not three-peat in 68. So history is against the Kansas City Chiefs here. And I still think the Eagles are the more talented team, and they found a way to win.
Because football is such a game of attrition that it's hard to sustain that kind of excellence for that long. Not to mention losing pieces on your roster. So it makes sense that it hasn't happened, but that just makes it even more special when it does. So, yeah, this is going to be interesting.
Now, do I think Patrick Mahomes is motivated? Absolutely, I do. I think he's motivated to get this three-peat. And he's going to be.
But see, I'm one of them people that if you play roulette and they go black 8 straight times, I'm just going to put the money on red the next time because I feel like, man, the other shoe's bound to drop. So it's. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry. I got
keep it going, JQ. No, that's amazing. We like it. Yeah, giving us some advice over here. And there we can see on the.
It don't always work. It's
just the law of like averages, right? Statistics. Naj said it earlier, and I love the fact that we're talking about a lot of history here because, it's hard to three-peat in any like sport, right? Of the 4 sports we talked about this, and I was looking this up for the topics. Obviously, only 7 teams completed that. 3 in the NBA, twice in the NHL, and twice in baseball. So obviously, who's in the NBA. You had the Lakers, the Bulls, and the Celtics. You had the Islanders, Canadians, and you had the A's and the Yankees in baseball. So even amongst the sports,
That's
all
called
the
Yank.
four sports, it's hard to do that task. I mean, like you said, Naj, it's easier to do it in certain sports, but still, you have to have a lot of things go your way. And I agree with you, Rob. I do think that the Eagles have an extremely talented team. You have a Saquon Barkley that what again in the same vein as far as the MVP. That dude is motivated. He came from the Giants. He wants to win. Obviously it's a lot on Jalen, but Jalen's got some help now. I mean, last year, I'm not saying that they had a terrible, running game last year, but you got a good team this year. Now, again, you got to go against that monster, which is Andy Reid, on his 300th career game. Only 4 people in history have done that, which is fantastic. And you got 15. So, it's going to be a tough game, but like I said, you got some interesting storylines happening. Saquon wants it. Jalen wants to kind of get some revenge, some get back. The trenches are there. I mean, you got a very interesting matchup. So you got some 2 heavyweights going head to head for sure.
Andy Reid probably has his Uber Eats lined up and scheduled to come in. That dude ain't sleeping a wink. You think he don't want to beat the Philadelphia Eagles, who ran him out, even with his excellent record and tenure there? You think it don't mean a little more to him to beat that team? And just for the show, I just want to throw this out here because this is a stat that nobody ever talks about, and we need to create a way to discover this stat. Watching Jaden Daniels and watching Jalen Hurts this year and some of the other mobile quarterbacks, we got to start talking about 4th down playability to the point of where it becomes normalized, because you just pick it up every time. Like, how can you draft a statue quarterback while you're watching Daniels and these guys out here? Like, how can you draft a statue in this day and age, dude?
Right.
Man, if you got heavy feet, bro, get out. Yeah, like just get out of it. We're not drafting you, bro. But we really do got to discuss that, because I think it's gonna rear its ugly head in this game. Even though I hate the brotherly shove, or whatever you want to call it, even though I hate that play, that ability to stay on the field is, man, that is a problem.
It is.
Well, yeah, when it's 4th and 1 and they pick up 6 yards.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the Commanders are trying to jump off sides and all that crazy stuff too, as well. That was hilarious.
It's almost like, gosh, is there anybody on the other team even pushing? That's what it doesn't even seem like they're.
And maybe we don't do that 4th and goal push with Josh Allen right into Chris Jones. Maybe we just
switch that up. Yeah. To kind of do a point, and that's kind of the evolution too, because we saw that unfortunately with Kirk Cousins and the older quarterbacks. They're just not mobile, man. They're sitting back there and they're statues, man. Unless you have a lightning quick release, it's going to be really tough to kind of, we talk about the evolution of the game, and that's the evolution of quarterbacks. Running backs are coming back, which is great to see that with Saquon. And it's just going to be an interesting situation to see how the league kind of evolves for sure, man. Yeah, man. We had the Wildcat, and then we had this tush push is kind of what's happening. We'll figure out a way to stop it, and then they're going to come up with something else to be a little bit more creative, So that's kind of the nature of the beast. And we're going to get to some more things for sure. I am going to say really quickly, you were 100% right about the Bills did, it was a pretty fair game. I do say, going back to that that spot was again, you had some time, but it's kind of tough, man, how that played out. But they lost, so Kincaid, all that fun stuff. We're not going to rehash that, but we'll keep it going. I do want to talk, if possible, about an interesting move that happened, and if we want to go back to other topics too about Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders, I do also want to talk about Pete Carroll getting hired by the Raiders, and you talk about the culture. We had a little blurb about it last week, and this is, I think, a good situation if you're, and this is on the topics, Rob, with Russell Wilson. Is there a reunion happening? And I think it's a very good possibility. So again, I think it's a situation where you don't have a quarterback. There's just a guy right there. So I think it could be like a match made in heaven. And I think it could be a good look for the Raiders too. That allows them to get other draft capital. But I'm open to hear you guys' thoughts about that.
Shit, Brock Bauer said you better not do that. I see what that fool doing in Pittsburgh. He can't get Pickens the ball. Don't you bring that old bastard over here? But I don't know. We'll see. I think another one you got to look at might be Aaron Rodgers, because I just don't think, if you look at the way Aaron Glenn has been talking, I don't think Aaron Rodgers is coming back to the Jets. I mean, unless they have a serious kumbaya session, he looks like he's ready to be done with that whole distraction of it.
Definitely.
So, yeah, but I mean, I'm not sorry, Rob. I don't know. I don't know if you go back to that. Well, I just don't. I think he's hit the wall, man. And you're gonna pay him money to get the same production you get from Aiden McConnell. Like, well, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah. Yep, and I wouldn't touch Aaron Rodgers either if I'm Pete Carroll, man. I mean, I wouldn't want that distraction and that drama and that prima donna. I wouldn't want that distraction either if I'm Pete Carroll. And we also got to remember the Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson breakup in Seattle wasn't that great, right? So we got to go back to remember that. I think Russell Wilson will have a better chance of going there than Aaron Rodgers do.
I agree with that.
But I think they got to definitely weigh the options and see what they have. I do think the Raiders need to sign a veteran quarterback. In my latest mock draft, I have the Raiders actually trading up to number 4 to get Shedeur Sanders in the draft, right? But I do think you still, you don't know how the draft is going to shake out and things of that nature. So I do think they're going to have to sign someone in free agency. It's just a matter. I don't know if now Sam Darnold, I think the Vikings are going to re-sign him. I don't know what the Vikings are going to do with J.J. McCarthy. Does that go into a trade situation there, right? So, I mean, that could be a possibility there as well, right? But I think they're going to have to sign or trade for a veteran. And then depending on who that veteran is, you're probably still going to have to go after Shedeur Sanders in the draft some kind of way with a trade up, So we'll see what happens. I definitely don't think it's Aaron Rodgers.
They're going to draft Will Howard. I'm kidding.
Aaron Rodgers
Maybe
is damaged
5th
goods.
or 6th round.
Aaron Rodgers is damaged goods. He's a troublemaker.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch Aaron Rodgers.
Smarter than everybody on the teams that he's on. I don't think Pete Carroll at his age would want to touch that. As far as Russell Wilson, They had a breakup. They got him for maybe a bargain basement deal somehow, maybe as a backup or as a mentor, but not to play.
I don't know. If you look at the Jets, you just drafted a kid, Jordan Travis, out of Florida State. Real quietly, Tyrod Taylor may not be a 13-4 quarterback, but he ain't gonna cause no ripples. He gonna do his job. So if you're the Jets, you're like, okay, maybe I get one number 12. If you're the Raiders, Desmond Ridder and Aiden McConnell, like Pete ain't coming there to win 4 games in that first year and get accident and have people say as the game passes old ass by. So you can say what you want to say, but if you get that and you're like, hey man, I can get him to a bridge to another dude because nobody's talking about Sam Darnold showed you who he was in those last 2 games when the pressure was up for real. He went back to being Sam Darnold. So you can do that if you want to, but I just can't see that happening. So I wouldn't rule that out, is all I'm saying, especially with a coach. When you get people getting fired after 1 year, you know what I mean? So I'm not trying to win 4 games and come in there and have people talk about me like that. So I don't know. The Raiders quarterback room is trash. Like
Daniel Jones is a name that's going to be thrown around as well. Because remember, he went to Minnesota at the end of the year. He's still looking for a home. That's a body you could throw in there. The Russell Wilson thing makes the most sense just because you can win a little bit more now. Like you're not winning much, but you can win a little bit more with him now. The A-Rod thing, look, man, Tom Brady has a lot of influence in that building. And from what we know about preparation and approach to football, I think Tom Brady probably hates Aaron Rodgers, this version of Aaron Rodgers' guts. I don't think this is his type of guy. Oh, you're going on a retreat? Oh, you'll see us next week. Like, Tom Brady ain't going for that. And I think it would nothing would make that dude happier than to pass on Aaron Rodgers and look for something else and let Aaron know that he doesn't want him. But the Shedeur and Cam Ward thing is interesting too, because this is the first draft we had in a while where the quarterbacks aren't the rock solid thing to where people aren't even answering the phone. Like before this year, last year's draft, you weren't getting those 2 guys, from either of those teams in the draft. Like you were going to have to pay through the nose. But Shedeur and Cam Ward, I feel like those draft picks can be gotten if you're willing to spend the capital. So if somebody really wants them, like the Raiders, if they really want to do it.
Bring up the Tom Brady impact on the Raiders too. He's not going to settle. He's going to have a heavy influence on that quarterback position, right? And look, it's not a secret that he's been the mentor to Shedeur Sanders. So if the Raiders have an opportunity to trade up and get him with Tom Brady in the building, I think they absolutely do so, right? I mean, look, I got Shedeur falling number 4 in my latest mock, and I got the Raiders moving up 2 spots to go get him, right? And we'll see how this all shakes out. When we still got months to go for the draft, and we still got free agency and all those kind of things that's going to play a big role in what happens with teams in the draft and that nature.
The Giant fans will burn down the Empire State Building if they don't. Once they saw Shedeur throwing the ball to Malik Neighbors in Times Square, if they let that dude go past them at 3, man, it's gonna be a whole problem in New York. For one, for two.
Hey, look, I don't think Tennessee's passed on them, right? But but we don't have a lot of smoke and mirrors right now. There's some teams that are not sold on Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders being those elite of a quarterback, right? There's some that are, right? So I mean, we got to wait and see how this thing's going to shake out. I think one of these teams are going to pass on a quarterback. We just don't know which ones yet, and whether it be Tennessee. I still got Cleveland taking the quarterback. I'm taking Cam Ward at 2, right? I mean, they don't have Deshaun Watson, and there's even rumors that they may even pass on quarterback, right? And I don't think Tennessee. I don't think Tennessee, Cleveland, or the Giants are in a position to pass on one of those quarterbacks if they're available. But I believe at least one of them will.
But you know what we don't have is Shedeur Sanders throwing the ball to Calvin Ridley on Broadway Street in Nashville. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have a video of Shedeur Sanders throwing the ball to Malik Neighbors in Manhattan. So you can say what you want. I got you. But the fans saw that and got riled up. And if that reunion is possible and they pass, oh, my God. When we're to the point of talking ourselves into Daniel Jones and free agency, that lets you know everything you need to know about the free agency and the quarterback. So that's why I say that about Aaron. If you're a coach and you've seen multiple coaches get fired after 1 year, you might put up with a headache if you have a plan for the next free agency or the bridge to another quarterback class if you have somebody you already have identified. He's a headache. There's no question about it. But if you look at his numbers down the stretch for New York, he didn't play bad. I don't think he was fully healthy to start the season for New York. But he's a drama show. Can't deny that. But I just don't think Aaron wants the other Aaron in New York, and he's going to be available. Somebody's going to say, hey, man, I'm not trying to win 4 games to get fired.
Yeah.
Aaron needs to retire. I don't think there's going to be many teams that's knocking on his door and dealing with his foolishness. I said this a few years ago. The most happiest man that we did not hear a lot from was Matt LaFleur when they got rid of him. And you guys remember me saying this on the show. He's quietly the happiest man in the NFL that he can move on.
You said that a couple years ago.
And coach and develop Jordan Love. Yeah, and look, I don't think anybody wants any part of that foolishness with Aaron Rodgers, right?
And people talk.
He knew he had Jordan Love. You can say that when you have Jordan Love and you have that backup heir apparent in the building. When you got Desmond Ridder and Aiden McConnell in your
Tom Brady ain't gonna want. I think Nas you said it already. Tom Brady ain't gonna want no part of Aaron Rodgers.
Listen, you might be right. I'm saying, but it's easy to be LaFleur, and you know that dude right there exists, and you got him already in your room. Like when you
but at the same time, we had never seen Jordan Love either at that point play consistently. But I still think Matt LaFleur was quietly excited and happy to move on from Aaron and develop Jordan.
That was the whole flashpoint of them drafting him. The fact that they drafted him after an MVP season for Rodgers was letting Rodgers know, like, yo, bro, not for long. We're not gonna put up with you. And we see him go to New York, and he pushes the coach Saleh on the sideline in front of everybody. He's contradicted him in the press conferences after. Coaches talk. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to meet the same fate that Bill Belichick met last offseason when all of those old wounds came up and people made Bill come in and dance even though they knew they weren't giving him the job. I think a lot of that's going to be on A-Rod, bro. Bro, come on, man.
Can make you dance, right?
Come on, man.
Listen, I'm not arguing that he's not a problem and that y'all may not be right. I'm saying for the places you're talking about, they feel like they have hope with one of the other quarterbacks in the room. Yeah. The Raiders don't have no hope with any of the quarterbacks that's currently on their roster, is all I'm saying. Right. No,
Right,
We got you.
but then think
gonna
about
have no
this.
hope in Aaron Rodgers,
Today's game,
That's
of
true, too.
football, which
They signed him. They ain't no
right,
hope
but in
either.
today's game of football, where everything is enhanced by motion and play action, Aaron Rodgers doesn't like to do those two things. So you're going to design this new offense for this old guy who wants to run down the clock and try to get offsides penalties and too many men on the field penalties and throw to his favorite target and ignore other, like, bro, his game has also fallen off a bit, and that needs to be discussed as well. So you got the attitude, the idea, the ego, all of that, not to mention the man's on drugs, if I can go back to the 1990s sportscaster type of way. The man's on drugs. You add that in there too, man. I think there's going to be no buyers for A-Rod. I think it's going to be an embarrassing offseason if he doesn't retire.
We'll see.
He needs to retire.
We'll see.
Yeah. Yep. And look, I mean, you know, JQ touched on this. I mean, the free agency pool is not going to be that great. I mean, we know that, right? But also this quarterback pool in the draft is not that great either, right? So you're going to have some teams that's going to look at some of these veterans and think that they're a better option than what they can get in the draft, right? And so, but I just don't think Aaron Rodgers is that guy. I think teams will look at the first 15 games of Sam Darnold and say, hey, can we replicate that somehow, whether it be the Vikings or another team, right?
Okay, I'll give you Sam Darnold. Now where you gonna go, free agency wise? Now where you gonna go?
No, I was gonna say both of them are right there in the building with Minnesota. You know, I don't see Minnesota keeping. They're definitely not gonna keep all three of those guys, right? So I mean, it's going to be Darnold or it's going to be JJ McCarthy, and if they commit to Darnold long term, then I think JJ McCarthy becomes trade bait, and then I think that's where a team. You're talking about a guy who was a top 10 pick in the draft last year, right? So you'll have some teams that maybe make a play there.
Okay.
So that's the interesting. To me, that's the interesting situation to look for, because if you sign Darnold to a 4 or 5 year deal, what does that put JJ McCarthy? I mean, they didn't expect Darnold to have the season that he was going to have, right? But what is that? I can't see the Vikings committing to both of those guys. It's going to be one or the other, and maybe they commit to one of them, and maybe they keep Daniel Jones as a backup. But they're not going to keep Darnold and JJ McCarthy, in my opinion. I just can't see that.
I got you. So that means there's multiple teams. You only talked about one quarterback coming loose. So what does everybody else do?
They're gonna take a chance on some of these veterans, or they're gonna, you know,
what veterans?
what else they gonna do? They don't have a chance. They don't have a chance.
Maybe somebody throws
I think
something
the
from
Steelers.
Stafford. Like there's gonna be some deals being made.
Matt said he was going back to LA today.
Yeah, he said he's coming back, but we
I think
don't
the
know if
Steelers-
LA is committed. We'll see.
You know that LA ain't gonna let him walk off. He wants to play there, at least franchise.
Yeah. He's still playing at a pretty decent level too, so he can still throw that football. I think the Steelers going to run it with Justin Fields, and I think that'll be a good decision on their part, right? You know, I mean, that's the best case scenario for them right now. Where else are they going to go, right? We just talked about the quarterback situation. They're not going to bring both of them back. They're going to go, not Mason Rudolph.
Will Levis will be on the trade block with somebody.
So,
you want to slightly used Will
and
Levis.
that's if Tennessee drafts a quarterback, right? Yeah, look, I think Kevin O'Donnell said it best. He said the NFL is failing at developing quarterbacks because they give up on a lot of them too soon, right? And, you know, he said that, and I agree with him. You know, and part of it is the coaches, and part of it is the owners, and part of it is the fans. The fans, if the guys are not winning right away, the fans say trash and they get rid of them.
The structure of the NFL,
Because,
once we got rid of that rookie contract and you had to put a guy on the field immediately, it took away the idea of we got time to wait for this guy to develop. So, yeah, I mean, you're right. You're hitting that right on the head, man. The finance of the NFL changed everything with QB development.
Yeah.
Well,
you can't wait.
Yeah, if you listen to that interview with him, he makes a lot of real strong points, you know, about how the NFL is failing at developing
with the finance of the NFL, Rob. I think that Darnold is going to get that job because they're not going to have to pay him the big bucks.
Well, I don't know. You know, Baker Mayfield went down to Tampa, got a big year, and he got a 3-year, $100 million deal. So I see Sam Darnold getting. I mean, that's not
That's not big.
That's not big.
That's
as
not
far
big
as-
compared to a Patrick Mahomes and
Yeah.
those kind of things. But I think Sam Darnold is going to get that kind of contract this offseason, right? He's going to be somewhere in that Baker Mayfield kind of range where he got 3 years, 100, or maybe 4 years, 130, 135, somewhere in that ballpark.
Shit.
So he's going to be somewhere
which
in that
gives your
ballpark.
team to bring in other
this
talent
offseason.
around him and help.
Yeah.
Instead of
Man, I would draft Cal McCord from Syracuse before I gave Sam Darnold 4 years, $130 million. What?
Hey,
Wow.
you know, Gary, that's a really good point because if you're really high on J.J. McCarthy, why not let Sam Darnold walk and you still get J.J. McCarthy into a rookie contract for a few more
That's
years?
that's
right?
that's the situation.
And you can really build the
Yeah,
rest.
go ahead, Rob.
That's really a good solution for
Yeah,
building the
that's
rest of
pretty
their
cool.
roster. And you can let Darnold walk, and you have teams like Raiders bidding for him. You have a team like the Jets that will bid for him, right? So you'll have teams bidding for Sam Darnold that may feel like they're not in position to safely secure
shaking his head.
Shadur Sanders or Cam Wharton's draft. Right now, they're the only two guys in the first round. And JQ mentioned Kyle McCord. And a lot of scouts loved him at the East-West Shrine game.
I was going to say they love him.
Yeah.
They don't know. You know what they don't love? Jalen Milroe. Said he out there absolute trash in the practices. But also to that point, Rob, and people don't think about it. In Baltimore, as much as I hate them, they do a really good job of it. Is that they would get a comp pick for Sam Darnold, especially if he goes somewhere and performs somewhat the next year. It could potentially be a third-round comp pick. And then it's one of those picks that you can, hey, if you got 2 or 3 third-round picks, you can move around, either push back and get more picks or move up to get a second-round pick and get a second-round pick. So you also got to keep that piece of it in mind, too. If you let Sam Darnold walk, you probably get a good comp pick.
Well, the problem with that is he did.
I mean, if you fully believe on J.J. McCarthy, to me, that's the route to go. Go with McCarthy, keep Daniel Jones as the backup, and you let Darnold
the
walk.
problem with that is he did just good enough to where now it's a conversation there in the building. I'm positive of that.
Yeah, he didn't play good in the playoffs, though. Playoffs always a thing.
14
But
good
Gary,
games.
that's the thing.
Yeah.
Well, he's still, but like JQ
And then
said,
you got to think about J.J. McCarthy's injury, too, and where he is in his recovery. I mean, all indications are he's going to be ready to go week 1. But, you know, you're right. I mean, that's something they have to look at, too.
Kevin McConnell's like he's pulling out the
telling
right
you.
strings, like you said, JQ. And I think that at this juncture, that's the guy, man. And then Darnold, he did exactly, it's like we know what we thought you were. You did exactly what we thought you were gonna do in the playoffs. The 2 games.
I'm gonna tell you like this. I'd rather fail on my the second round pick with Kyle McCord at $8 million than fail with Sam Darnold in 3 years and $110 million.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Yeah.
That dude is giving you plenty of years of body of work and then one spike season. I could never be a GM because there's no chance in hell I would give him 4 years, $120 million. Not a chance. Not a chance.
Yeah. But you got to take you as an organization, you have to take some risk if you're going to be successful, right? And some of those risks are going to work out. Some of those risks are not going to work out, right?
I'm working on
you
that
have
second
to
round
take
risk.
some risk in order to be. Hey, look, there was a good bit of us that thought Derrick Henry was washed up. I mean, look, the Ravens didn't pay him a lot of money, but man, he could play like gangbusters this year, right? So as an organization, you have to take some risk in any sport. If you're trying to win a championship, you're going to have to take some risk. Some are going to work, some are not going to work.
Yeah. Well, with Derrick Henry, I like that analogy to a point, but he comes to the Ravens. Now he's got a team around him. He's got a mobile quarterback that's a threat from 60, 70 yards out. That really gives him that opportunity to widen that field and do what he did, do what he's doing, do what he did this year. I mean, he had a good season, but it's because he was on that type of team.
But that's the perfect team, though.
I agree. I understand.
It's the perfect team.
Hey, JQ, we talked about this before on the show when the Bucs signed Chris Middleton, right? And,
Are you never gonna let me lay that down?
Hey, but that was one of those risks that we thought the Bucs overpaid for, and then they won they won the championship, right?
They did, and you ain't never gonna let me forget.
Yeah. And same thing with Jaylen Brown with the Celtics. I mean, they paid him over $300 million, and they went out and won the championship the next year.
True.
And so some risks are going to work out, some are not going to work out. I mean, Chris Middleton ain't done much since then.
Not
But-
a damn thing. I'm just stealing money.
But he was big on that championship year though.
He was, and I give him credit, but now he out there stealing money.
he can't stay up.
Yeah. Just to get back to your point, Gary, Derrick Henry,
But I think teams will sacrifice that for a championship though.
True.
everyone would take that. Derrick Henry, perfect situation, perfect for the Ravens. He'd have fit with the Steelers too.
It's like the Rams, man, when they bought the Super Bowl team a few years ago, right? I mean, they spent a lot of money and then they paid for it a few years afterwards with their cap. But they won the Super Bowl.
Thanks, Rob.
Oh, my bad. I forgot. I was pulling for the Bengals, man. You know that's like one of my second favorite teams.
Goodness,
So
it's just
He's,
straight
he's on you tonight.
It's right.
but the way my Saints are, I need some second and third favorite teams. So I got the Bengals and the Commanders.
Well, when you talk about quarterbacks, I was going to bring him up. Do the Saints get rid of him if he doesn't restructure his contract and get him some capital leave?
Well, no, I don't think the Saints going to get rid of him. And he's already said he's open to restructuring his contract. And look, and here's the situation. I mean, the Saints are picking 9th in the draft. We're not in a position to get a better quarterback.
Yeah.
So, and you saw the Saints were 0-7 without Derek Carr this past year. And
That had a lot.
you look at
Yeah, that had a lot more to do also too. Olave and other injuries too. Like I don't know if I can.
Oh,
put
yeah,
that
yeah,
fully on-
Yeah, I agree with that. But, you know, Derek Carr won some games this year without Rashid Shaheed and Chris Olave. And I hate to say it, Andre, but they beat the Falcons without both of them with Derek Carr at quarterback. And Marquez, what's his name? Valdez Scantlin. Signed him off the street. He was
MVS.
given receiver on the roster.
It was like
Yeah.
7 field goals.
So they won some games. He won some games at quarterback without Olave and Rashid. But Saints were 0-7 without Derek Carr.
Well,
this year.
Derek Carr had one
know,
game where he was the best quarterback in the league.
Yeah, he
And
lit
that was
y'all
against
ass
the
up.
Cowboys. And then I had to watch Robbie
Yeah.
one take out all damn game.
Yeah,
Then the injury bug hit us. But no,
Yeah.
I mean, they're not in a position to get a better quarterback right now. It's just
True.
It's just the bottom line. I mean, like I said, they were 0-7 without him. And when you look at the last 2 years, Derek Carr's first year with the Saints, they were 9-8. They were tied with the Bucs at 9-8. And unfortunately, we lost a tiebreaker, but they whipped the Bucs in Tampa the second to last game of the season that year. And Carr wasn't fully healthy in the middle of the season that year. And then this year, the Bucs win 10-7. And if Derek Carr is healthy, the Saints are somewhere in that range, 9-8, 10-7 again. So you're right back in competing for the division. And so you're not in a position to get a better quarterback. Now, Derek Carr is not a top 10 quarterback. I'm not saying that. But he at least puts them in a position to be competitive. And they were 0-7 without him.
that's
So he got to keep his ass healthy and stop doing dumb stuff like thinking he's Saquon Barkley and trying to dive over people.
well.
Got a concussion and broke his wrist.
Yeah, he's a fool. Y'all was also a fool for drafting Spencer Rattler. That dude has been ass since Oklahoma, and I've been telling you that for years. So
Wow. Hey, man. Thanks for that.
Clint Kubiak.
Thanks for that shot, man. We missed like 5 field goals, man. That's why y'all beat us, man. We're gonna come back to that, man. It's bullshit. But anyway, I'll come back, man. So, it's all good. Congrats.
Special teams. I mean, the first game we lost to the Falcons, Rashid Shaheed fumbled the ball on the 3-yard line, give the Falcons an easy touchdown. Lost. That's how we
I don't know
lost.
what the
the
hell's
game.
happening with that, man. That's some bullshit, man. That's crazy. We got like literally 28 minutes here because we have spent like all the time on like a couple topics here. And I'm gonna say the Raiders really quickly. The Jaden Daniels effect. If they get Shedeur Sanders, he's gonna try to boost up that culture, and we'll see what happens. But obviously, you have to have a veteran there to send the shit. But Jaden Daniels is gonna have a nice effect moving forward too from that. But speaking of that, let's get to the mock draft, Rob. Again, we could talk about. It seems like it's a pretty heavy draft with defensive players, but it's not a heavy quarterback draft we talked about earlier. We've been kind of alluding to that. And let's go ahead, Rob, and get that. It's been posted on our Facebook page, Talking Sports the 12th Man, as well as our Twitter as well. But yeah, go ahead, Rob.
It's my first 4-round mock draft this year.
okay,
So I slowly make my way to 6 and 7 rounds, but it's my first 4-round mock. I'll start with the top 10, and I'll talk about our teams here. Got JQ's favorite player, number 1, Abdul Carter, Tennessee edge rusher. Scouts are excited about him. Got number 2, Cleveland, Cam Ward. The Giants, Travis Hunter. I think Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter are definitely the best players in the draft for sure. Shadur Sanders, I already talked about it. I got the Raiders trading up to number 4. Got New England trading down 2 spots to number 6. Got Jacksonville taking Will Campbell, left tackle at LSU. New England taking Mason Graham, defensive tackle, Michigan. Got the Jets taking Tyler Warren, tight end from Penn State. And Carolina taking Taturo McMillan, wide receiver from Arizona. I don't want to see him in our division for sure. Got the Saints taking Will Johnson, corner from Michigan. And they got the Bears taking Jalen Walker, edge rusher from Georgia. Got the Cowboys at number 12 taking Josh Simmons, offensive tackle, Ohio State. There you go, JQ. And let's see. Got the Falcons taking Tyler Booker, offensive lineman.
Come
Alabama.
on, Rob. What the hell?
And
Get the hell out of here, man.
Hey, man. Other than Chris Lindstrom, man, everybody else, the Falcons' offensive line fell off this year.
Yeah, if we don't draft defense, there will be a riot.
How about edge rusher Mike Green?
Yeah, a lot of need.
We like Mike Green. I mean,
Mike Green is the hot prospect.
But Tennessee is too, but he like Nas.
Yeah, he's like, we got to take a corner. I'll take a corner, or I'll take a edge rusher. That even trading back, get extra picks. That's what I'm looking for. I agree. We need somebody for Caleb McGarry.
Mikael Williams and Jalen Walker off the board already for the Falcons at this point. In this mock,
I'm saying, but keep going. We'll trade down, my guy. Get some extra picks. If that happened in real life, trade down, get some extra picks, go from there. But keep going. I love you, man, but still, damn.
I got to check this out for the Bengals. I got to take him Ashton Jeanty. The word on the street is they may not bring Zach Moss back. Chase Brown had a hell of a second half of the year this year for the Bengals. But you get a 1-2 punch with Chase Brown and Ashton Jeanty. That's going to add some awesome dynamic to that offense.
I'm with Andre. If they don't, what is his name? His name Walter Nolan, defensive tackle.
Defensive tackle, Ole Miss. Yeah. I like him.
Yeah.
I got Walter Nolan going 19 to Tampa, so he'll still be on the board.
I think they got to go defense. I think Chase has shown that he can handle the load. You don't have to spend a first-round pick to compliment him.
He's going to go to the Cowboys.
But that defense, you got to be able to get off the field and get Burrow the ball back. So, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Let's see where we got. Second round, I got the Saints taking T.J. Sanders, defensive tackle from South Carolina.
Ooh.
We know how good their defense is. And I got Dallas taking Shavon Revel Jr., cornerback from East Carolina. I got Atlanta taking Ariante Ursery, another offensive lineman from Minnesota. In Cincinnati, another offensive player, Elliot Ayamainer, wide receiver from Stanford. 6'3", got great hands. He's a guy that's rising up draft boards as well. And then in the third round, Saints got 2 picks in the second and third round. Got Luke Kendra, offensive guard from Cincinnati, the Bearcats. Dallas taking Fadil Diggs, edge rusher from Syracuse. He had a really good year this year. Got Cincinnati taking Seth McLaughlin, offensive guard from Ohio State. So there you go, JQ. And then the last round, let's see. In the fourth round, we got a 4-round mock. This is all posted on our Talking Sports with a 12th man page. I got the Saints taking 2 wide receivers in the fourth round. We're gonna need some depth. Hopefully, they can find a way to keep 2 starting receivers healthy. We couldn't do that this year, but doubling down on wide receivers. Got Jalen Royals, wide receiver from Utah State. Then also we got Jaden Higgins, who had a really good year, wide receiver from Iowa State. For the Saints. I got Atlanta taking Zy Alexander, cornerback, LSU, in the fourth round. And let's see. I don't think Dallas had a 4th round pick this year. At least currently they don't. And then I had the Bengals taking Kevin Winston Jr., safety from Penn State, in the 4th round.
Yeah, I'm with Andre. It'd be a ride up and down I-75 between Atlanta and Cincinnati if those franchises don't go defense in the first round and maybe the first 2 rounds.
Yep. But see, the thing you got to think about too, a lot of these teams going to go after their needs in free agency.
True.
And so, we got to see how all that shakes out too.
Again, Rob, I give you so much credit, man. So many props, man. So you flowers for doing a draft, and whatnot too. It's good fodder, but again, you're hoping that, you know, even if you get some stuff knocked out in free agency, there's still some needs that, you know, you want to address. And hopefully, you know, obviously, yeah, we got to get some offensive linemen. That's not a bad situation, especially if we lose Chris Dahlman, you know, because he's, you know, San Francisco likes him. A couple teams like him. You know, that's a situation too. So, but again, it's going to be a little crazy. You have to knock it out in who's out there for defense. Khalil Mack is the only one that's free agent. I mean, you know, that dude is not that he's trash, but that's
Javon Holland, I think, might be one of the best free agents available this year. Safety out of Miami, 25 years old.
who's that?
Had a heck of
Who's
a
that?
year. Javon Holland,
Yep.
safety in Miami.
Yeah.
He probably might be one of your better free agents available on the defensive side of the football. And look, you're right. Certain positions you're better off addressing in the draft. Offensive line and defensive line, a lot of teams don't let those players go if they're playing at a high level. So those kind of positions, you know, you almost have to tackle in the draft. Free agency, players that you can get in free agency, safeties, linebackers, you know, those are kind of players that you can find and come and have an impact on your team in those positions. But certain positions, you're better off attacking it unless you find guys that just don't want to be where they are and asking to be traded and, you know, things of that nature.
And if Dallas lets Gentry roll past them, that's another city that's going to riot. They're going to say, what?
Yeah, Gentry's got to be right there for me. Gentry. Yeah. Ashton Gentry.
Oh, yeah.
That's that Jerry called that. You know, and there's some we need some cornerbacks, excuse me, as well for Atlanta too. So that's why I said if Will Johnson happens to slip, that would be my only I can see something like that. But
that'd be a no-brainer. If he slips, that'll be a no-brainer. I don't see it slipping.
I agree.
I got him going 9.
That's where I'm like you. Like if it's not an edge at that 15th position, if it played out like that, we're trading down, we're getting extra picks, and we're doubling down on the next 2 rushers, whatever. Because you know that's just what has to happen. And then I know we don't have a 3rd round pick because of what happened with, you know, we traded for Judon. You know, obviously some shit with you know, Kirk Cousins losing. So we don't have enough picks, you know. So that's another situation. And the cap is going to hit us. That's why we're talking about trading Kyle Pitts, you know. But that's kind of where we're at. Trade down, accumulate some draft capital. You know, I'm not trading to you. I'm messing with you, JQ. But you know, we are gonna. That's some words that we're talking about too. But that's all you have, you know, at this juncture too. So you're gonna have to pick the bottom of your.
But we say that a lot, right? You know, we as fans say that a lot about trading down and things.
We do.
How realistic is that sometimes, right? And how often does it happen? Does it happen? Yes.
Yeah.
But how often does it happen? I've been wanting the Saints to trade down in the draft for the last 10, 15 years. We've never done it.
You've traded up several times.
They always move up. They never trade down. And I mean, we say that, but how often?
I hear you.
It could happen.
I hear you. I'm not talking junk by any means. I'm just saying if that scenario happened,
we was like, talk look.
Well, what I'm saying, like if that happened the way you played out, and there's like, hey, offensive lineman, like Jake, you said, man, we would like lose our shit, man. Like really? Now you'd have to kind of like we already lost our shit with Michael Penix. That worked out, but we would come back around. We're like, come on, man. And again, we'd have to knock it out in free agency. You know, if that came down, if you're like, hey, we got our safety, cool. We got some linebackers, cool. You know, we somehow got somebody that was like, yeah, I want to come rush, you know, cool. That would be a situation like, all right, okay, cool. We got you. But like damn, we kind of rushed the pass, man.
I think the thing you got to look at too is offensive line was not a need for the Falcons in the last couple of years. It's now a need all of a sudden,
100%.
right? And so,
100%.
you're looking at a need position and you're looking at an important position too, right? So, I mean, you invested in Michael Penix last year, and now outside of Chris Lindstrom, you know, who's probably the offensive lineman and maybe one other offensive lineman on that Falcons line that played at a high level last year.
Bergeron played pretty good. We like him. Obviously, Jake Matthews getting old, along with the two. Then Galen McGarry, same thing. You know, So it's not a bad look. I'm not shitting on that. I'm just saying, like, you know, again, it's just like right now, you can survive.
Look, I don't want the Falcons to win.
We know you don't.
But I'm just trying to be realistic on the
truth comes out. I'm gonna get you guys are gonna get Ashton Gentry. Come on, man.
Oh, man. Hey, you guys, I have to go.
All right, Gary.
I gotta go meet. I gotta go meet my
Everything good,
granddaughter
Gary?
now.
Oh,
Oh,
very
man,
nice,
awesome.
bro.
Here's a little
Congrats again,
picture of
brother.
her.
Yes, sir.
Aw, shout out.
Congratulations,
Nice.
bro.
Shout out.
I think so.
Congrats.
We'll see you guys next
Yep.
week. Hey,
See you,
Rob,
man.
can you get the topics out a little early? Bye.
Don't get us.
All right, 35.
Oh man, I love it.
What stadium is that in the background there?
Titans.
That's
Yeah.
The Titans?
That's the Titans. I just grabbed a. I was just trying to. I was telling Gary when we joined early. I was kind of playing around with a couple of different features here, so I'll figure out some stuff, man. I was like, oh, I could add this. I could do that. So, you know, each
Nice stadium. I went to a game there.
yeah,
Yeah, I've been there once. It didn't work out.
Yeah.
They building a new one though. It didn't work out for me either.
It's
But no,
quality.
Rob. Yeah. It's man.
Mhm.
It's a great. I thought it was a great stadium, man. Whenever I was there, I was like, yeah, this is, you know, it's always good. That's one of my bucket list things of like hitting up different stadiums.
The weather was great. I think I went like November
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
COVID hit before I had a chance to go to like a lot of Carolina games, but to now I was like, yeah, I should hit it up at some point. But that's on the bucket list as well. But we bringing it back, Rob. Definitely appreciate you. I'm just giving you a hard time, man. 'cause
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
just,
for sure.
you know, like I said, I'm like, man,
Oh, that's what
you're speaking.
I can't agree with everything I say. You gotta bring some
Right.
dialogue to it.
It's just like there's some fire
Mhm.
behind it, and like, man, I'm like, you're not wrong with offensive line being a need too, but like I said, if you in a perfect world, you know, and again, I know fans, I mean, I think I'm a pretty even kill fan. I'm like, all right, I get you, you know, but yes, if that scenario happened, we'd be a little upset, but you know, we'd be like, all right, let's trade down and get some extra picks. But you know, like I said, in the perfect world, you got to get, you know, edge, quarterback, safety, you know, maybe tackle and center. You know, we can get linebacker, you know, whatever safety in free agency. But you know, we only have so many picks, man. You know, because we effing around and messing with Kirk Cousins and trading Judon, and that didn't work out. And you know, so now we're like, and that's how you get better through the draft. Sure.
Look, and I think the Bengals, you know, I think a lot's going to depend on T. Higgins. I mean, I got him drafting a wide receiver in the second round, but if they re-sign T. Higgins, that obviously changes all of a sudden, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You're not going to spend a second round pick on a wide receiver if you re-sign T. Higgins,
Yeah.
right? And so a lot of that hinges on that too. As
And
well.
yeah, and also, you know, they got to get Orlando Brown, you know, when they signed him, Trent Brown from New England, and he blew his knee out, right? Because if he comes back healthy, you can book him with Orlando Brown on left and right tackle. You can bring Mims into the guard position. Then you don't need a first round pick necessarily or a second round pick on the offensive line. You can get some depth in behind it. And required Cody Glenn played well for him. So it's that them fools up the middle that are getting Joe Burrow killed. But they've got to address that defensive line. They've got to get. They let Reader go to Detroit, and you saw what happened. So that's really why when I saw Nolan out there, I was like, that's a good player and definitely a need. And about what they said, he should be picked at. So I would be shocked if they got a running back. That's more of a luxury because you got to be able to stop the run, especially in that division.
Yeah. Nolan, I got taking 2 picks after Cincinnati, so that's definitely a realistic pick there.
Got your details.
Rob's taking all of our shots. He's taking all of our shots, JQ, but it's all good. Hey, I do want to talk really quick. I want to add two topics. I'll let you guys pick what you want to talk about. Where the hell is Jimmy Butler going? What the hell?
You know,
might be going to your Warriors.
Yeah,
he might be.
That's where they want him. That's where they want him. Yeah,
that's a team that's interested in him.
Yeah.
And Phoenix is going to be tough because they are on the they're one of the 4 teams in that apron tax level already. Yeah. I think it's with Minnesota, Phoenix, Boston, and Milwaukee. They're like the 4 teams that's already in that apron tax level. So obviously they will have to, you know, give up some pieces in order to make that work. Not just draft picks.
Marcy said no. Marcy was no part of that.
No, it's got to be Bradley Beal, but Bradley Beal has the no trade clause, so you just can't send him anywhere he wants. And Pat Riley have already said they don't want to take back too much money. Beal, I think, still has 3 years left on that deal, so that's going to be a non-starter. Now you're trying to get a 3 or 4th team, and I think the Bulls were one that tried to facilitate, and Bradley Beal said, "Hell no." So that's why with you, Rob, I think it's going to be tough. I don't think he fits really on the Warriors because he's not he's a scorer, not a shooter. So now you have him and Draymond
Mhm.
occupying a lot of the same space when you don't have a Clay there anymore to help spread it out for Steph. So I don't know.
But the driving kick game, though, you got to think about that aspect of it too. With Butler, he's a great penetrator. He can get to the paint and he can kick it out to those shooters because he's going to draw double teams when he's driving to the paint too. So you got to think about that aspect too. It was almost like, I mean, Jimmy Butler's not Akeem Olajuwon, so I don't want y'all to think I'm a
I was gonna say easy
dream, but
easy killer.
yeah.
But the breaks.
If you go back to those Houston Rocket teams in the '90s when they won 2 titles, you know, Hakeem was surrounded with shooters. If you remember that roster, right? And basically, you throw the ball in Hakeem, and if they played him one-on-one, Hakeem was tacking. But if they double-teamed him, all he did was kick it out to those shooters, and they were draining threes, right? Sam Cassell, Vernon Maxwell, Kenny Smith, and those guys, right? And so that's the idea with Jimmy Butler. He won't be posting, but he'll cause double teams by penetrating, and he can kick it out to a Steph Curry. And nobody should leave Steph Curry.
But if I'm playing the Warriors and he's out there with Draymond, I'm gonna pack the paint. I'm gonna say you could have that 17-foot jump shot all day. If I'm gonna give you 25 of them. If you hit 8 of them, y'all win. God bless. That means the Steph didn't shoot a whole bunch of shots and you wanted it with the mid-range thing. I would pack the paint and say you can't drive in here. Now, if you're playing one man up, right, and he gets past you, what you're saying is right. But I would just back up and say you can have that 15-footer. You can have it all night long. So I don't know. Plus, he's so disruptive as a personality. Like, if you're that good,
I wouldn't want him on my team, but somebody's going to take a chance, right? We talked about that in football. You know, teams think they can take a chance to win a championship. I know he's a talent, but I wouldn't want him on my team. But somebody's going to take that chance, and they're going to, you know, Miami may not even get much in return at this point.
Well, that's on Miami because they handled this bad too. That's on both of them. But at 25, Jimmy, maybe when I feel like I can give him a contract that he's going to like for 3 or 4 years and get the prime out of me. But 35-year-old Jimmy wanting that kind of money, I don't know. To answer your question, I have no clue because I don't think he's a great fit for Golden State, and I don't feel like Miami wants to take back Bill's contract. So those are, you know, Phoenix and Golden State would be the teams he wants to go to. I just don't know. Unless they find a way to get 3, 4, or 5 team in there to make it work, it's going to be crazy.
Mm-hmm. And Jimmy's gonna want to go to a city that's got a good hairdresser.
Oh my goodness, great! Hey, Atlanta's right there for you. Come on through. Hey, I'm messing here, but yeah, I think he's still got some. You know, he's got some game. I know you got to deal with that. I'm gonna segue really quickly to the challenge with. It really hurts about Jalen Johnson for the Hawks, man, because great young player, just dynamic season, if you will. And that's kind of definitely tough to hear him have that sort of surgery. He was just, right on the cusp of that too. And I think that's definitely going to affect. It's going to affect. I think the Hawks are going to make some trade situations to try to fill that gap because he was playing well with Trey. Ricochet is not quite ready just yet. I mean, I like what he's doing, but they're going to have to get kind of help that for sure too, man. But yeah.
Yeah, that's a big blow. I mean, the few games I had a chance to watch the Hawks this year, they were an entertaining team to watch. And I don't hate the Hawks. I just hate the Falcons, just so you know. So the Hawks are one of those teams, depending on who they're playing, I root for them. I never root for the Falcons.
The Hawks are wild. It's always a 3 or 5 point game with 4 minutes left. It don't matter who they playing.
Yeah, they're an entertaining team to watch, and a lot of those games I was rooting for them too. Jalen Johnson, Trey Young. I got some Hawks paraphernalia, believe it or not. Y'all ain't seen me with it yet.
Well, what I'm gonna tell you, Dre, is Atlanta's not trading no picks for this team. And listen, they have no shot in the dark to win an NBA championship with Jalen or without. So why would you go trade capital? What you got to do is amass it and hope some of these picks continue to hit and then move forward. I can't see what move do they make that makes them be better than Boston or Cleveland. I won't even put Philly in that no more. Like, just to get out the East and then have to go beat the OKC or Minnesota or Denver. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't know what deals they're going to be able to make with that roster to say this is going to put them over the top. So I couldn't see giving up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's Bogey didn't play the last 2 games, which I thought was pretty interesting, right? So normally whenever you kind of put it out there, there's a move happening. I don't know what that is. And again, is it like to shore up kind of like, the backup point guard? Again, I'm with you. I mean, obviously, you're trying to stack, your G League team with, a couple two ways and kind of see where that plays out. But, I'm just curious. I think they thought that Jalen was they didn't think it was gonna happen. Like this injury was pretty serious. Like they were like, hey, we can kind of put him on the shelf. Now you're like, all right, but I hear you. I mean, it's like I don't know who's out there.
Unless you're Voltron, unless you're
Go ahead.
Voltron, right, where somebody wants to get rid of a contract, you're like, we'll take it, but you gotta give us a first. You know what I mean? To offset that piece of it. So I mean, I can see that. I can see that, but I don't know if there's anything really available to.
I don't know either. Like I said, you're getting a complimentary piece. You're getting something to kind of like, hey, can we get somebody that come in here that can take some minutes, score some points, alleviate Trey. I don't know if he's out there. I mean, I like the Jordan Clarkson, but again, I don't know about that. Then like you said, Bill's too small. You don't want that. I mean, there's Durant's a show. So there's certain things that are happening. Certain things are happening. So you're like, I couldn't.
I think with Bill, I think we got to a point where he was underrated, and now I think we're getting to the point where he's overrated.
Fair. Yeah.
And I think JQ touched on this well in regards to the Hawks. I think when you look at their roster, I think their best plan for growth for the future is developing the current talent on their roster, right? Ricochet, Dyson Daniels, Trey Young, and get Johnson back healthy, right? They're, Okungwa, in that group, right? They're going to have to continue to develop their young talent that's already on their roster and see if they can hit on another piece or two in the draft, right? I think that's going to be their opportunity for growth going forward, right? And I don't know. You might have to eat this season and just, use this season as an opportunity to continue to develop Dyson, Ricochet, and getting those guys ready for a possible run on next year and see where you land in this year's draft, right? This year's NBA draft is got a little bit more talent than last year's draft,
absolutely.
right? So you want to see, where your opportunities are. Because, man, we struggling to even have a rookie of the year out of this past draft. Right?
Yeah.
Sarr from Washington may get it, but we're struggling to even get a rookie of the year.
You had some promise. Obviously, we thought Reed Shepard was going to do his thing. He started out pretty fast, and then he kind of faded. You have Stephen Castle, some things, and then like I said, Ricochet's been on the bench, and Sarr's been all right. But it's okay to take, guys. It's okay to take, Hawks. We ain't gonna get that that number one pick again with the worst draft ever. But it's just a situation where Ace Bailey and Connor Cooper Flag, they're gonna be gone, man. So you're hoping that you're gonna get something, a nice piece. We need
Cooper Bailey, the real deal. Like
who's that? What?
Man, unlike Duke, he's the real deal.
Yeah.
His game is smooth. Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
I mean, he just makes it look easy.
We gotta get a backup point, and that'll be our thing. So that's why that's only but it's okay to tank, man. It's okay, man. That's where we're gonna be okay because Buckkin is hurt too. But you got 3 minutes to get your.
You mentioned Reed Shepard with Houston. Huh? Man, that Houston Rockets team, man, they looking for real. Amon Thompson, and that dude is a freakish athlete,
an elite defender. Yeah, Houston. Yeah,
elite defender.
Donna's good coach too.
Sengun in the middle, Jalen Green. Jabari Smith. I mean,
when Dylan Brooks hits freaking 10 3-pointers, then I don't know how you beat them.
Yeah, you have a shot. I mean, they beat Cleveland twice in the same week. They went on the road to beat Boston. I mean, they're going to be a team to be reckoned with, and they have one of the better coaches in the league, in my opinion.
Yeah, if he would just act right in the office.
Yeah.
It was consensual.
You gotta act right.
Yeah.
2 minutes, guys, before we wrap this thing up, man. Anything else you want to hit up before we wrap this up?
No, I feel like we touched on most of the things that are topical. Anything that
we hit a lot.
Everything else college football we can save for a rainy day once we get into the to the dead season where we're just talking about baseball, really. So
yeah. All right, we're gonna wrap up this show tonight. It's been great.
You cut in and out.
Whoa, what's wrong?
You back now?
Good.
Oh, okay. My bad. We're going to be back at sometime next week, people. Pay attention to our Talking Sports with the 12th Man page. We're going to be back. We want to hear from y'all from every time zone in America. On the East Coast, we want to hear from Philadelphia. You know, playing for the Super Bowl this week. You can't keep Joel Embiid healthy, so you better enjoy this Philadelphia Eagles right now. The Phillies might have a chance this year. You know, we'll see. The Dodgers still loading up. The Braves probably going to be healthy this year. The Mets got Juan Soto, so we'll see what's going to happen with y'all in Philadelphia. So you better enjoy this Eagles opportunity here. Kansas City in the Central Time Zone. Want to hear from you guys. You know, with the Super Bowl, of course, the Super Bowl in New Orleans, so we want to hear from New Orleans as well. Mountain Time Zone, Denver, Boise, Albuquerque. We want to hear from you guys too. We want to see if the Nuggets are going to make it back to the championship game. Boise State, we want to hear if y'all going to be back in the college football playoff next year, right? Things are going to come down to Boise State, UNLV, and Navy. We want to hear from y'all out of Boise next week. And then the West Coast, you know, we always got to give a shout out to Fresno, right? Big favorite city, Jackson, Mississippi, of California. We got to give a shout out to Fresno. All right. Seattle, we want to see if y'all going to get an NBA team. Las Vegas, we want to see if y'all going to get an NBA team too. We want to hear from y'all in LA. All right, we'll be back on next week, everybody.
Yes, sir. I'll y'all next week.
Be good, gentlemen. Have a great one. Thank you, Marcy, for the shout out. See you next week, gentlemen. Be good. Have a great week.
All right, y'all. Bye, y'all.
All right.